tale of two filmmakers. On a bright summer morning, some years ago, two filmmakers graduated from film school. Both were equally skilled, smart and resourceful, and both shared a dream to earn a living from thoughtful independent films. On paper, both had a solid shot at making it, but one of them had something the other didn't, a different strategy. Cut to 5 years later. Our first filmmaker made a feature right out of college. It took the usual route, going to a few festivals, then a film market. It even got a distribution deal. Sadly, that deal turned out to be a dud. No money materialized, and after the first quarter, the distributor stopped returning calls. Now our filmmaker works a day job in corporate communications. Of course, they're planning a new film, bigger and better than the first, but the financing won't come through. They're stuck, frustrated and angry. Despite 5 years of work, they're no closer to making a living with this than the day they graduated. Our second filmmaker is a different story. Instead of making a feature right out of school, they spent a year laying a strong foundation. From there, they made their first feature. It was profitable within weeks of release. Since then, they've made two more, each more ambitious than the last, and each more profitable. 5 years on, they're making a comfortable living doing work they love. Not only that, they're earning more year over year. Instead of simply making enough to survive, they're on track to build long-term wealth. Those two filmmakers are named Phil and Andre. You'll be meeting them soon. But for now, you're probably asking yourself, what strategy could possibly make this much difference? How can one of them be so successful while the other has essentially gotten nowhere? That's the core question I hope to answer for you in this series of emails, or videos in our case. Welcome to Indie Film Ungated. More tomorrow. Rob. So that was the first email in the Indie Film Ungated email series in 2020. And since then, it's gone missing. And recently, I noticed that even the website has taken down. Rob moved on to other work right now. He's publishing mostly on Substack about manifestos, which we will get to later too. But anyway, I asked him if I can resurrect this email series as videos, because I think it has lots of good information. And since the first email was so short, let's move on to the second email when he was introducing himself and why he thought he has the right to tell you things. Okay, who the heck is this Rob guy? It occurs to me that we are about to undertake a journey together, but I haven't introduced myself yet. Let's fix that, shall we? Clears throat vigorously. Howdy, I'm Rob and I'm thrilled to meet you. Here's a picture from me, Okay, we don't get the picture, because it's not even here. Here's a picture of me from my film school days in dire need of a haircut. Now, there are three big things that you should probably know about me. 1. I'm what you might call a filmmaker in hibernation. After dropping out of film school, I had big dreams of being the next indie darling. But by 2013, I had my come to Jesus moment. I'd watch as friends finance films on credit cards, then got eaten alive by the festival circuit and shady distributors. I knew my chances of making a good living that way were slim. More importantly, I knew that wasn't how I wanted to live, constantly waiting for some gatekeeper to make me whole. So I put my filmmaking on the back burner. I think it's really great that you get to see both mine and Rob's perspective on this, because I never went to film school, but I'm actually working on films. So you both see with like a theoretical view of marketing guy, but we'll get to that later, and a practical way of somebody who tried these things. First, I went to work for no film school, where I wrote approximately 6 gajillion articles from 2013 to 2015. From there, I transitioned into marketing for a number of startups and educational companies. But the indie film spirit never left me. In fact, around 2017, I began tinkering with ways to translate the work I did for marketing clients into the film world, which brings us to the present day. These days, I spend the majority of my time working on two crucial questions. How can we build a business model for indie film that actually works for the filmmakers instead of against them? And how can we get our films in front of people who will actually care enough to pay for them? In the coming years, I'm sure I'll come out of creative hibernation and get back to making films, telling stories, writing music, and so on. But for this season of my life, I get a rather gross amount of satisfaction out of wrestling with those pesky questions every day. And thanks to the time spent at no film school, I also thoroughly enjoy sharing that I found in my pursuit. By the way, what's coming in the film Ungated is my answer to those questions. So if you're curious, stay tuned. Number 2. I'm one of those freakish creatives who legit loves marketing and business. I know, it's weird. But hear me out. Yes, Rob, it is weird. We all envy you. Coming out of school, I thought I hated business. I wanted to be one of those pure creatives who was so good at craft that the business just took care of itself. Not only did that mindset fail me miserably, but I now realize I had no clue what business was all about. Turns out there are as many ways to run a business and market your work as there are to create films. The whole process is deeply and unabashedly creative. It's a chance to create a world that's uniquely your own, one that absolutely delights your fans at every step. Not just when they're consuming your films. Now that I approach business this way, I freaking love it. It's invigorating. My hope is that over this series of emails, you'll see marketing and business as a natural extension of the creative work you love. If I can leave you with that hunger and drive, I will have done my job here. Number 3. I love silly animated GIFs and use them to express just about everything. This GIF is missing too. And with that, we're properly acquainted. Tomorrow we officially embark on our journey. What's coming your way in the next 2 emails? The first 2 emails of Indie Film Ungated are the most important. I'll be formally introducing you to Phil and Andre, those 2 divergent filmmakers you met earlier. Now, Phil and Andre aren't real people. They're composites pieced together from the many indie filmmakers I've interacted with over the years. Though they're not flesh and blood, you'll soon see the characteristics and decisions are very real, maybe even uncomfortably real. Though these 2 characters, you'll see clearly the 2 ways to approach the business of indie film. The path of the traditionalist and the path of the filmpreneur. In the coming decade, one of these strategies will increasingly result in disillusionment. The other will lead to financial flourishing and a lifetime spent making meaningful films for people who care. Tomorrow, you meet Phil. Buckle up, amigo. Rob Hibernation Harvey. So I guess I should introduce myself too. I'm Bogna Jordan and I've been dabbling in making movies for about 15 years. First few years were spent kind of figuring out the way to start making movies, to how do you go about making movies. I'm kind of trying to do it the traditionalist way, the Phil way, more or less. I tried to get my first feature film made pretty early, but actually I'm pretty happy I didn't get to make it because it was the turning point. I made the calling card short film that kind of acts as a first episode of, if it would be a web series instead of a feature. Either way, I'm really happy how that episode or short film turned out, but it was really meant as a calling card, as everybody was teaching at the time that you make a short film calling card and then you go on to make a feature film based on the same idea. Or either way, I met with the director or somebody from the local television station with proposal for making this Keeping Tomorrow's feature film based on like the short film I produced. and I got rejected. It wasn't something they were looking for. As you will hear the same in Phil's email. So instead of like looking for more and more people, like I decided that's not the way I want to go. I already started looking at different paths that I can make movies and different approaches, but the rejection really kicked me off into going out and exploring. So I kind of think that it was the crucial part of my filmmaking career. I went off to write books. I wrote a first draft of a novel in 1 year. It still isn't published. It's my weakest novel that I'm working on because it is the first one. So from then on, I started many writing projects and published some short films, mainly in anthologies, and published a kids book. And this little detour into writing really taught me a lot about what I want from filmmaking, and also some marketing strategies, what I enjoy about marketing and what I don't. I actually lean more into web series right now because I really enjoy the slow narration and getting to know the characters, and I think the web series provide way better medium for that. But either way, I do want to make big projects. I don't want to be stuck on the short films. I do enjoy making short films because they are short and fast to make, but unfortunately I am not in position yet to make any of the big projects I really want. I really want to adapt indie books. That's kind of my end goal for now, just making those like huge, beautiful, wonderful projects. But for now I'm kind of figuring out how to squeeze any filming into my life. Between taking care of kids, I'm homeschooling my kids, so that's taking a lot of the time, but also gives me kind of interesting advantages, like even having my kids act in my movies or videos. So I see mostly filmmaking as a hobby. To be frank, I'm not going all the way go into the career path of filmpreneur represented by Andre in this series. I do think there's lots of interesting ideas that I really think that everybody should learn about different approaches and pick and choose what really fits into their lives. So my main goal for the next few years is fitting as much filmmaking as possible while sustaining a good relationship with my family and focusing on their homeschooling, or on my kids' homeschooling. Filmmaking is still a hobby more than a career for me, but I definitely want to use those years before my kids grow up to build a stable foundation for a career later on. I do really want to someday be able to make awesome projects, maybe not Lord of the Rings level, but yeah, epic fantasy. So that's my hopes and dreams, and each week I'll be sharing what I'm working on. I'm trying to keep working on at least short films all the time. Like, I don't want a week to pass by without me working on something at least. But I also keep writing because I got to get a great community of writers, so and it kind of gets in between my filmmaking time, but in my head it's all kind of coming together, all helping me to someday make great movies. So yeah, each Saturday I'm updating here my progress on filmmaking, or sometimes just thoughts. I did generate a lot of thoughts about filmmaking through those 15 years, and on the first Saturday of each month will be released this. For now we going with the indie film Ungated, upgraded. I'm sorry, he's just using always the shortcut and I'm confused. Either way, we're going with Rob's email series for now on each first Saturday of each month. Thank you for watching, for hanging out with me, and see you either next month or next Saturday. Bye!